Hey, how's it going, everybody? Shaun here with another edition of Shaun Solo, kind of a down and dirty audio and picture only one, just trying to get this thing out. So this past week, or actually yesterday, would have started yesterday, Humble Bundle debuted its new bundle, its new main bundle, and it revealed that they're working with Nintendo, which is kind of amazing because Nintendo is pretty storied for being kind of a dick company when it comes to things like this in terms of even game sales and whatnot. They've gotten a little bit better over the past few years, so they are being dragged kicking and screaming into the future with things like online play and the eShop and stuff and the way that works and connected accounts and all this other business. But yeah, this would mark the first time any console games have gone through a kind of a sales service like this. It's all indie titles. It's kind of Nintendo throwing their weight behind their indie initiative, like a lot of things do. I guess the biggest company that we've seen push this kind of stuff has been Sony. Outside of PC, I mean, this is something like PC people have been able to enjoy for a very long time. A lot of great indie games. I would say like 80% of them are on the PC. You go the sites like goodoldgames.com and Steam and whatnot. Like every day it seems like there is some cool new indie game coming out. A lot of platformers, a lot of adventure games, which works for me because I'm a big adventure game person. A lot of really cool adventure games have actually come out in the past few years. But beyond that, it's a really neat thing, and I hope this is a trend. Like, this is a cool thing. The thing with digital distribution is that they have not given a great reason why they cost the same as retail. Other than just like it's what we're used to. Even like a lot of PC games are usually a little bit cheaper than like their console counterparts, or even just a little cheaper in general. You see a lot of PC games going for around $50. I mean, most of the big AAA stuff still, it's going to keep that $60 price point. But I guess the thing to wonder is how fair or necessary that is. Is this just like due to social conditioning in terms of like our sales habits, like what we're willing to pay for games? We are used to paying $60, so now we just pay $60 in general. Like, I remember when the first of the more like 3D gaming like kind of generations, the PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, Nintendo 64 to GameCube, I remember the price jump from $50 to $60. I mean, before that it had been more expensive. For certain games, it was on a game-to-game basis. Super Nintendo, famously, a lot of their RPGs were, around like $80. It depended on the chip that had to be inside of it. It's like Star Fox and stuff was more expensive than, say, a platformer. Like, I don't know, just like Bram Stoker's Dracula, for instance. It would be more expensive than that. Had to do with tech and, the cost of producing that tech. So, what kind of a world do we have where because we're being slowly pushed into like this all digital age, where everything now is kind of day one release. It's been funny. I've been listening to some older gaming podcasts, the Giant Bombcast, which is one of my favorite gaming websites and gaming podcasts, and I've been listening to some of their older like Game of the Year stuff. Just so I was bored, and it's funny when they're talking about like the proliferation of the day one stuff from a few years ago, like day one digital releases on consoles. It was kind of a novelty. It wasn't a full-born thing, and now we're kind of in the era now where it's all day one. And there isn't a compelling reason, like I said before, there's not a compelling reason why this stuff still costs the amount that it does, other than just, like I said, because we're used to it. So this is a cool thing. I hope other studios, or not studios, but platform developers get behind this kind of initiative and start doing this kind of stuff and kind of giving back to not just charities, because Humble Bundle is a cool thing, they give a lot of money to charity and whatnot, but also to us gamers and the amount of money we spend. We live in this era of really nickel and dime, especially the past few years, where people are trying to figure out DLC and what's the best way to do it, and what's kind of a value do we expect from DLC. It's like kind of this big conversation that's going on, and it's starting to kind of find its way, but then there's always just some gross microtransaction bullshit, because we're starting to see the cost of games kind of go up based on DLC. like Batman Arkham Knight, a game I would really, really like to play. You can buy a $60 version of the game, or you can buy like an $80 version of the game. And the $80 version of the game comes with like a bunch of exclusive stuff and, the promise of DLC and whatnot, which makes you feel like when you buy the regular version, maybe you're not getting the whole experience. Famously, it's not the first time, speaking of the Batman franchise, they did that with Arkham City, where they withheld Catwoman DLC, which was story DLC. That wasn't necessary, but it definitely enriched the world. It should have been included in the retail, just day one pickup. Like, you shouldn't have had to pre-order it to get the Catwoman stuff. So they've done this kind of thing before, where it's a little nickel and dimey, it's a little gross. They're kind of doubling down on it with this Arkham Knight shit. Like, it's kind of getting out of hand, in my opinion. Like, but it's gonna stop me from buying that game right away, for sure. Like, and I'm a big Batman fan, so not just the games, but the character, and it looks really cool. But honestly, like, I feel like I gotta vote with my dollar on that one and kind of stay away from it. But to get back on track, I expected something like this from PlayStation more than Nintendo, because just when PlayStation 4 launched, like, they had this big indie push, this big indie initiative, and also, like, if you have a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3 even, you can see they're pretty aggressive with their digital sales distribution and, like, offering sales and that actually have a significant value. We're talking like anywhere from 20% and up. Like, you can get some really great games, even some more recent games, for at least probably $20 under the MSRP. So that's stuff like that is really cool, and it's cool to see Nintendo kind of starting to get behind that, because while Nintendo, they do have kind of sales and things like that on their eShop, which is mostly indie things. It's mostly stuff like that's offered in this Humble Nindie Bundle. But they're not super, like, open with their first party stuff being ever discounted for any reason whatsoever if the game isn't, more than 5 years old, if even more than that. I mean, Christ. You can't go to stores, you can't go to GameStop and get used games, like Nintendo Wii games and stuff like that, on the cheap a lot of times. I'm talking about first party, I'm not talking about, like, the shovelware or third party stuff. That stuff tends to go cheaper, and, like, the reason for that is people tend to hold on to their first party Nintendo stuff a lot more than the third party stuff. But this is a cool thing. It's kind of a trend I hope continues. The co-founder of Humble Bundle, John Graham, and I'm quoting from a Polygon article that alerted me to this thing, and not that I really read Polygon, but for some reason, maybe I have it liked on Facebook or something. We are trying to talk to everyone, and we are definitely exploring all possibilities. I'm optimistic that our future will hold more console promotions. It's a cool thing, and it's a cool thing not just because it's a charity, but it's a cool thing just to get as an added value for the consumer, people that have bought in these consoles. These consoles are really expensive. Like, kind of the big games haven't really been there for them, like, especially the PlayStation 4 specifically. And I can speak to PlayStation 4 because I own a PlayStation 4. There isn't a ton of stuff that really grabs you, and a lot of the stuff that has come out has been fairly mediocre. It's really being propped up by the indie scene. And I think it would behoove them to do something like this, not just to promote the indie games, but to promote their own platform and kind of have this more, I don't know, egalitarian kind of sense about themselves, be above kind of exclusivity and all that other bullshit, and just kind of offer a cool package to PlayStation 4 owners and console owners. But, like I said, I am shocked that Nintendo is the first one, even with, like, their indie stuff. I mean, they've come a long way. They have come a long way in the past few years. You got to give credit where credit's due. I have a Wii U as well, and my wife has a 3DS, which we both own because we're married. So, like, it's, what's yours is mine, and mine is yours. And it's a cool thing, and a lot of these games on here are cross-platform, so if you get it for the Wii U, you also get it for the 3DS. It's pretty neat. There's a few games of note on the Humble Bundle. Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition is a pretty good game. I already bought it, like, a long time ago when it first came out. So that's not going to do it for me. But Stealth Inc. 2, Steam World, which was a PlayStation Plus game. I've played that. I've played a lot of these games. The Fall, already own it. But depending on what they further release in this bundle, I mean, because they always do this midweek thing where they unlock more games. Yeah, it'll decide. I might just do this, pick it up just to support the notion of console games being on Humble Bundle. Like, it's a really cool thing. Humble Bundle is a really great, like, organization and stuff. Not just, like I said, not just because of the charities, but the value. And there's great things they do with, like, books and comics and also, like, software and a lot of really cool stuff you can get through Humble Bundle. And you can feel good about yourself because you're supporting charities. I guess, you gotta, get your ideological ducks in a row to see if you want to support a certain charity, but I can't imagine they're going to have anything too nefarious up there, too controversial. But yeah, just kind of wanted to make a quick video because I just thought it was really cool, and I hope it gets attention, and I hope it gets the praise that it deserves, in a sense. And I hope it pushes other platform owners to kind of take a similar tact. You've really shocked me, Nintendo. First time you shocked me in a long time. Because most of the time, you're just doing the same fucking thing over and over again. But I still love you. I still love you. To a certain degree. To a certain degree. Please don't try to sell me the same games with a new coat of paint anymore. But it's okay if Zelda changes. It's okay. I'm just saying. It's okay for that series to develop. Give Link a voice. Just do it. That's my unpopular opinion for the day. Alright, everybody. Well, this is Shaun. Thanks for watching, or listening, rather. And I will talk to you guys next time I got something to talk about. Goodbye.